next speaker is someone who truly lives life at a different altitude. Mr. Jitin is a successful tech entrepreneur with a focus on innovative solutions and digital transformation. His leadership is defined by a blend of technical expertise and the sky is no limit mindset. Jitin Vijayan, founder and CEO of N Dimension Solutions, is a seasoned entrepreneur known for building robust digital solutions for clients across healthcare, manufacturing, e-retail, and education sectors. He is a skydiver who received the Tenzing Norgay National Adventure Award, India's highest adventure honor from President Draupadi Murmu. He holds a Guinness World Record for the highest altitude skydiving with a flag and the longest outdoor freefall achieved during a jump from 42,431 feet in 2023. As the first Asian to jump from such an altitude, he is recognized for his record-breaking bravery and significant contribution to air sports.
He is here today to talk about what happens when you conquer fear and take that ultimate leap of faith. As ideas take center stage, let us warmly welcome Mr. Jitin Vijayan, a man who redefined the limits of the sky to the TEDx circle.
Namaskaram. Let me start by showing you something. We have all seen the Earth from 30 or 36,000 feet when we travel by plane. This is actually a picture from 43,000 feet. Now look closely. Can you spot a runway? This is a runway. I had taken off, and in some time I had to jump and land somewhere near. I was in a plane, a part of an experiment going on in the US. And when it reached the altitude, pilot gave the signal, it's 2 minutes to jump. And at that exact moment, my goggles broke. At an altitude of 43,000 feet, the outside temperature was minus 70 degrees. And without goggles, your eyes freeze immediately. And a free fall of that kind will be a complete blind descent. And I was standing there waiting for help with an Indian flag in my hand. My name is Jitin, and this is a story of how going the extra mile transformed an ordinary boy's life into an extraordinary journey. I come from a small village called Balisheri in Calicut. My father was a bus driver, my mother a homemaker, and I have a sister. We were a low-income family, not exactly poor, not a middle class, somewhere in between. But my mind was always drawn to two things: sports and dreams. I was passionate about athletics. I won school meets and participated in district events. But in my 8th grade, my marks dropped from 90s to 70s. Because all my time went into sports, my math teacher told me, Jitin, you must choose one, sports or studies. For a boy from a low-income family, the choice was clear. I chose studies. That was my first big sacrifice. I completed my 10th and 12th with distinction and joined computer engineering. In the initial days, I've noticed something. All students around me, they were all different talents, different strength, different fears, and very different finance. I found or I realized something very fundamental. Time, that's the only thing distributed equally to everyone. 24 hours, not more, not less. Then I decided, how can I make better use of my time after college? My father's brother, he taught me how to assemble a computer. My friends became my initial customers. The real income started coming in when I started build systems for schools. I started fixing the issue, software and hardware issues of studios, internet cafes, and computer institutes. Actually, that hands-on work perfectly complemented my academic journey. I'm always grateful to my friends who were giving me their bikes to visit my customers. Those 4 years shaped my future. They were taught that going the extra mile compounds over time. After engineering, I got placed in a company in Kochi. It was as a software engineer. But it wasn't enough for me because going beyond minimum had already become a habit. So I went to a Friends Institute, guiding engineering students for their projects for 3 to 4 hours every day. It was not just an additional income. It was actually a continuous development for me. When you teach others, you learn even more yourself. This was actually helping me for the big next step. We have started a company with a group of friends in 2007, an IT company. By the way, I got married in 2006. Our son was born in 2008. I'm sure he must be sitting somewhere here. When the company was formed, we were all working 12 to 14 hours a day, including the weekends. The company grew steadily. Life became stable. But one thing inside me was always missing. A part of me that had left the sports behind in the 8th grade. So I went back, not to win medals, but to rediscover myself. With my son, I trained in karate. With friends, with my son, I trained in karate, skating, and horse riding. With friends, I learned tennis. Alone, I went for shooting and paragliding. Whenever I enter something, I always make sure that I will try my best to see how far I can progress. In 2019, I did a tandem skydive. It was in New Zealand. 2 years later, during a business trip to Germany, I traveled to Spain to get trained for my skydiving license. It was not easy. I failed at multiple levels. But I was not ready to quit, dive after dive. And finally,
Congratulations.
I secured the license.
I'm dedicating this to my instructor, NS John.
Come on, no. Amazing job. Amazing job.
Then I thought I could do something more in this sports than months of practice. In Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and the UK, I have traveled almost all drop zones available. Dive after dive, sometimes failures, and progress after progress. Skydiving taught me something very powerful. When you enjoy the process, the result stops frightening you. And when the result stops defining you, that moment you actually start growing. I never get attached to success or failure. I was always focusing on my progress. Actually, it was 2021. A US Army pilot, he has announced a high altitude skydive. It was not a space jump like Felix did. I'm sure you all must have seen a space jump, the forwarders that you have received on WhatsApp. This is completely different. Here, the pilot was checking how high an aircraft can go with its door open and how high a skydiver can safely exit from that aircraft without a spacesuit. The first mission in 2021 was a failure. 2022, it was a success. 2 civilians and 3 army people were able to do it. I was part of the 2023 experiment. We were 3 civilians and 4 army people. And I was there representing Asia. This is just before the jump. As we climbed, the temperature dropped. Air became thin, above 30,000 feet. Breathing from an oxygen cylinder itself felt challenging. Atmospheric pressure was too low that the human body won't be able to function normally. My heart rate went to 160s. The only thing we have to do inside the aircraft was to breathe and stay alive. We have reached the altitude, and pilot gave the signal, 2-minute signal. And at that moment, just at that moment, as I said in the beginning, my goggles broke. I know I won't be able to jump without goggles, but I didn't want to panic. Adding fear, my heart rate was already high. Adding fear on top of it would push it further. So I signaled the officer inside, and you can see he was telling 2 minutes, and he immediately checked the aircraft, and luckily they had a backup. And another officer passed it immediately, and within a minute, this officer fixed the goggles for me. Finally, I was ready with the Indian flag in my hand, ready to jump. The moment I jumped out of the aircraft, a powerful wind caught the flag and pulled me into a fast rotation. In skydiving, if you can't stop a rotation, you are gone. I was trying my best to control it. The falling rate, my speed was 420 kilometers per hour. Controlling the body while adjusting the flag from tangling was completely difficult. Even at that intense moment, my mind went back to something simple. The 8th grade boy who left sports behind many years ago. And a quiet dream I always carried, standing on top of Everest with the Indian flag. At that moment, I was even higher. This was that moment. I wasn't thinking about records. I wasn't thinking about recognition. I was slowly adjusting the flag against the wind, making sure it flew clearly and proudly in the sky. Those 3 minutes were not just a skydive. It was my life coming a full circle. Later, this jump resulted multiple world records. I became the first person to carry a national flag above the height of Everest. And a couple of other world, Asian, and national records. But the most beautiful part was not just the record itself, it was the experience and the reminder that some dreams stays us alive for many years, waiting for the right moment to take flight. Later, Government of India selected me for the Tenzing Norgay National Adventure Award. Receiving it from the President of India was a dream I never even had the courage to dream. I'm grateful for all the achievements, but my life is not about records. It's not about titles. It's about effort. I have failed multiple times in many things, but I have never felt like a failure because I knew I had always given my maximum. You can lose and still feel proud, because regret doesn't come from losing. Regret comes from not trying enough. So, if you are starting something new, a job, a dream, or a sports, don't ask, will I succeed? Instead ask, can I give my maximum and my 100%? Going an extra mile doesn't always guarantee victory, but it always guarantees transformation. Sometimes when you go far enough, you find yourself standing in places where you once thought impossible. For me, it was 43,000 feet above the earth with the Indian flag in my hand. For you, it may be something completely different, but the path is the same. Give your best, enjoy the process, and go the extra mile. Thank you.
I now invite Niharika on stage to present a memento to Mr. Jitin as a token of gratitude. Thank you, Mr. Jitin. Your words reminded us that growth often begins where comfort ends.
And Jetty sir, for taking care of my son for the last 13, 14 years.
Sometimes the greatest view comes only after the scariest jump.